Welcome to High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki, and we're on the ThinkTech Hawaii series. HTDC stands for High Technology Development Corporation. We are the state's agency, and we are the main supporters of tech in Hawaii, tech innovation, entrepreneurship, and manufacturing. So those are the things that we hope to cover on this program. First off, I'd like to make some announcements before we meet our wonderful guest for today. This Saturday, April 26th, from 11 to 3, HTDC will be hosting the Tech Fun Fair at Kahala Mall. So if you're in the mall, or if you're in the Kahala area, from 11 to 3 this Saturday, come check it out. It's all about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, for the whole family. So basically, what does STEM look like from K through 12, all the way through school, through college, and then what kind of careers could you have in the STEM field? There's going to be lots of hands-on activities, robotics, projects to check out. So come check it out this Saturday at Kahala Mall. Wetware Wednesday is our monthly networking event for software developers and engineers. And it's next week Wednesday, April 30th. We're going to be at UH Manoa's campus in the Manoa Gardens. So we welcome students and professors to come to this event and join us. There's no excuses, we're right there. It's a good place for students and faculty, especially in the software developing and programming and computer sciences field, to come see what's going on in the industry. This month's Wetware Wednesday is sponsored by the UH Manoa Department of Information and Computer Sciences. And we will be featuring Jason Lay. He's one of their newest faculty members. He's a world-renowned innovator and data visualization expert. We're also partnering with Honolulu New Tech Meetup to hear Blue Startups, their newest cohort, give their elevator pitches. And I saw them and they're pretty interesting, so I hope to see you guys there. Manoa Gardens next week, Wednesday, from 6 to 8. Lastly, I'd like to call out all the SBIR Phase 1 winners, Small Business Innovation Research Phase 1 winners. If there are any of you out there, HTDC offers the state's matching funds. We will give you up to 50% of your Phase 1 award. So if that's you, if you've won one recently, please contact us at sbir@htdc.org. So I'd like to introduce my guest today. Today I'm with Justin Torrance from the Transmedia Accelerator. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, I appreciate it.
So, Transmedia Accelerator, that seems very interesting. What is that?
It is. That's the big question.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very loaded question. How much time do we have? So let's start with Transmedia, the first part of it.
Yes.
Transmedia really is about storytelling, ultimately at its core. It's about telling a story not just on one platform, but on many platforms. And
is that the trans?
And that's Transmedia, yeah. It goes across many platforms. And so the idea wouldn't be to necessarily replicate the same story over 3 different platforms or 4 different platforms. It would be to continue a story.
Oh.
So what we love about stories, it draws us in. You know, it excites us. There's something about it that we want to know more about. We love the characters. We fall in love with, you know, the heroes in the story and the drama of the whole thing. Well, the cool part about Transmedia is maybe you have a film and you follow that up with, you know, a graphic novel or even a soundtrack that would be inspired by an album that would be inspired by the film, but maybe not necessarily from the film, like the actual soundtrack. So it would be a continuation of the story. You see this sometimes, you know, you see a famous book that would come out, a novel would come out in the theaters, and a lot of times they replicate. Well, the cool thing is, what if you wrote a book and then you made a film that would tell the next part of the story? You know, and there is some overlap there to the story and stuff like that naturally, but the whole idea is that you're able to tell the same story and a continuation of the story across multiple platforms.
Do games count? I know a lot of like the kids movies, they come out with the video game, like that's the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, what we're going to talk about today is the new Transmedia Accelerator program that's available to help entertainment entrepreneurs across the whole state. And we want to see people that that are in game development, in app development, and people that are in the literary circles, and people that are in the music realm.
Wow.
And to see all these artists, these creative entrepreneurs come together, they can form a team and introduce an idea as a business, and not just an idea, but already developing business. And so you can take somebody that's a gamer and somebody that's an author and somebody that's a filmmaker, and they can work together as a team to make a franchise that would really be successful.
Huh.
Yeah.
How do you get them together? How do you...
That's the magic formula. So, well, in cooperation with Hawaii's Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, and then the High Strategic Development Corporation, kind of like one of your sister organizations,
sister agency.
and then Creative Industries Division, the County of Hawaii, and then GVS, Global Virtual Studio, which is who I'm working with currently. They developed this program, and it's a public-private program where you have state and county funds coming together with private sector funds and giving just an amazing opportunity for people that are in the state of Hawaii, as Hawaii residents, starting Hawaii businesses that that can start to synergize together and develop, and we bring in mentorship and we bring in dollars and we really help these businesses take off, and the goal is to see this growth throughout the state where people aren't having to leave, but we can stay here and work together. And as you know, a lot of intelligent people here, a lot of creative people,
definitely.
and give them a platform to do some great work. And then not just make it only for here, but we have this tagline, it's made in Hawaii, but made for the world, created for the world. And so the idea is to export,
And what is Global Virtual Studio?
Global Virtual Studio is, I guess you could say, the brainchild of David L. Cunningham, who is a film director, and he was raised in Kona, went to Konawana High School, graduated Konawana High School, and went off to film school, went off to USC and started in film there, and in his whole process, he became a studio director, and is actually, he made the first independent film on the Big Island called Beyond Paradise. He was the director of that, writer, producer, and director. Now won some awards, and then followed that with To End All Wars, which was filmed on Kauai, and so he started trying to bring his career back home. Well, those films were fairly well done and increasing as he went on in his years, so drew recognition, and then Hollywood studios started inviting him to shoot projects, so he ended up traveling the world and doing films in Romania and Canada and other places, and he's been to over 100 different countries. He's a well-traveled guy. And so he was traveling, and he was doing what he loved, making movies and reaching the world with story, and all the while he had this itch to come back home, to be back in the islands and to raise his family, to have his kids instead of in LA in the hustle and bustle and the rush. He wanted to have them around, the Ohana environment, where your neighbors look out for your kids, and they're able to go down and surf pine trees, at sunset and stuff like that. So in the process of that, he came back to Hawaii, and he knew that he had to find a way to be able to create content in the state, but keep pace with the industry all over the world. So we developed this thing called Global Virtual Studio. And the idea is that you work digitally with artists from around the world in real time. So you can be working here at 3 in the morning and maybe, halfway across the world, it's in the afternoon. So the goal is to stay up till 3 in the morning, but you're able to collaborate. So some of the projects that he's worked on has had artists from 15 different countries around the world working together, but it was all done out of Kona as the hub.
That's awesome.
So that was the whole goal with Global Virtual Studio, is that take the creativity of the world, harness it, bring it together, and make some really cool stuff happen, and be able to do it in Hawaii.
Wow. Excuse me. That's amazing.
It's been
and
pretty
so
fun.
This is his idea, the accelerator.
The accelerator, it's a very collaborative thing.
Okay.
Accelerators have, you have Blue Startups and these other ones and these other sectors that have been popping up for years, and he's a very innovative guy, and I know that a lot of he has the innovation, and he's always thinking the next step. I learn a lot just by watching what he does, and like, how did you think of that? Very innovative guy, and always thinking outside the box, always thinking 3 steps ahead. And so him and some of his, some of his friends he's around all the time, just thinking and talking through ideas, realize, there's no reason why we couldn't take this accelerator model and apply it to the entertainment industry, and especially here in Hawaii, where there's a lot of creativity, and right now people are exporting their creativity by moving, and how do we get them to stay here? So started working with some amazing people at DBET and at HSDC, and
so he's able to bring
CID.
his connections and expertise and the people that he knows in the industry. Is that what he's going to bring to mentor?
And that's a big part of the program.
That's
so
amazing.
So Transmedia and then the accelerator. What an accelerator does is,
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
We're going to
I don't want to get ahead of you.
Quick break,
Okay.
and then we're going to go back to the accelerator point. So this is High Growth with HTDC. My guest today is Justin Torrance. Very exciting about the Transmedia Accelerator. We will be right back.
Hey Fidel, that's Sharon Moriwaki of the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum. And every Wednesday we have Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy. We've been doing it for some time now, and we have some fantastic guests on there, unbelievable guests who give us insight into what is going on in a very complex, sometimes very confusing, sometimes very disappointing area of progress in the state. So we love doing this. We love meeting them. We love talking to them. We love having their ideas out on the table. So maybe, just maybe, we can all make some sense of what's going on. Sharon, what do you think?
I think that's absolutely correct. We enjoy ourselves meeting with all these people and hearing about the energy and the state of clean energy, and hopefully we advance clean energy for the state. So it's terrific. Join us.
Okay, it's every Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday is Energy Day. Every Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m. Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, here on ThinkTech Hawaii. We'll see you there. I'm Jay.
Hi, welcome back. This is High Growth with HTDC. I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki, and we're on the ThinkTech Hawaii live streaming. Today, my guest is Justin Torrance with Transmedia Accelerator, and he was just about to explain the accelerator part of Transmedia.
Yeah.
So what is the accelerator part?
So you have GVS, and you're starting to understand the transmedia part, and the accelerator part, so I was starting to explain, is a model that we've seen in tech industry, a lot of tech startups. I mean, tech is it's the new thing. It's what's happening. You know, it's the growing sector, and it keeps leaping and bounding. You know.
But I'm sure tech touches the media.
Tech touches
too,
the
right?
media.
I mean,
yeah. So we looked at, not me, David, and his partners looked at these accelerators, and was like, man, we could apply this to the entertainment industry. So the accelerator takes people, and it's a little different than an incubator. Sometimes incubators are somebody has an idea and they help to really pour into that and make it grow into something that could be viable. Well, with an accelerator, you got to come with something that it's already pretty well developed. Not just an idea, but you have some kind of business plan. You have some kind of company, something already growing. So we're nurturing more than growing. You know, so somebody's been working hard, and what's cool about here in Hawaii, and I think the part that we really want people to understand is that this is something where people that are from the state that have all this potential don't have to stop dreaming. They can keep dreaming. They can dream even bigger. And like as we're going to get into, the mentorship is a huge part of the accelerator, where you have people that have been moving along and trying to get going. Maybe they need some funding to keep going, and maybe they need some advice. They need some know-how. Well, David has an awesome network. David Cunningham, the founder and director of the program, has some amazing connections. Ralph Winter, one of the producers on the X-Men movies, you know, and Grant Curtis, one of the producers on the Spider-Man trilogy, and Oz the Great and Powerful, and James Snook, who is 20 years head of innovations for Starbucks. And so just, I mean, these are just a few.
So those are the kind of people he's bringing into the
people,
accelerator?
huge names. So this
awesome.
Isn't, it's not a second-rate thing. Just because it's far on a rock out in the middle of the Pacific, it doesn't mean it's going to be second-rate. We're looking to impact world venues from the state of Hawaii. So that's the really exciting thing, is that we're really poised to see some very significant things established from the state with the help of these world-class mentors that can really help people take the next step and export something that's very significant.
That is amazing. What is the format going to be for the accelerator?
Well, we have something called it's the GVS pipeline, and it's a little bit top secret. It's our secret sauce. But we do have some program details that are out there that are public. So we have a 6-month program, and the first cohort starts in June, and it's based out of Kona, and there is some travel, flexibility and stuff like that for people from other islands. But there's going to be a hub in Kona. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. We just started something called Honua Studios in cooperation with the County of Hawaii, and we're actually in the middle of renovations right now. So we'll have some workspace there for the synergy. We'll accept 6 people, 6 different teams, 6 different companies into the cohort every year, and right now we're slated to run for 3 years. So starting in June, and right now we're in the middle of applications, so we really want people to apply, to go online to globalvirtualstudio.com and apply to be a part of the first cohort. We'll bring them together, mentor, give a seed investment of $50,000 to help them move forward, and in exchange for that, they give 10% of the company back to the Transmedia Accelerator. Again, it's a business venture. and we mentor them to success.
Wow.
And hopefully at the end of that 6-month program, they've got something that's solid enough where when we bring investors in front of them, they're able to pitch something that's very, very worthwhile for follow-on funding.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. So this could be, you can be on any island.
It can be on any island, yeah. And that's a big thing. It's based out of Kona as far as the facility goes, but it's a statewide venture. And
Yes.
so I'm here on Oahu, arrived this morning, and going to be going to at least Maui, Kauai,
Great.
hopefully, even some of the smaller outlying neighbor islands. But
That's
just
great.
telling people, hey, come on, this is for everybody. We want to help people's dreams come true. Really, is what it is, and hopefully everybody makes some money during the whole
Yeah.
process, and the world gets to see a little bit more of what Hawaii has to offer. And I think, not to jump ahead of your next question, but something I think that really inspired this for David Cunningham, the founder, was looking at a scenario like Lord of the Rings in the country of New Zealand. Peter
was
Jackson
amazing.
did something very innovative there. There was no infrastructure in that place at the time. Now, Oahu has a decent industry here that's fairly well blooming. We have Hawaii 5.0 and some other things that are shot here on a regular basis. But to see that infrastructure bring viability to multiple islands, and even on Oahu to see it grow and be even more self-sustainable. Looking at Peter Jackson and what he did with Lord of the Rings, where he basically launched the whole entire film industry for the country of New Zealand, and now more and more projects are coming there. So we really think that that's possible in the state of Hawaii, across many islands, seeing infrastructure built to where there's going to be some long-term benefit for the residents of Hawaii.
That's great, especially I think since Hawaii has such a varied landscape.
Oh,
Could be ideal for
yeah, I mean,
tons of movies.
A big island, 11 of the 13 world climate zones on one island. It's an amazing backlot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
did not
very,
realize
very
that.
amazing. Actually, I was reading an article on the airplane over here that Google is starting this new thing where they backpack down trails, kind of like Google Earth, but for
yeah.
trails. And they're starting on Big Island because of its diversity, and because they get so many climate zones. They thought it was just the perfect place to start doing it. So they're first hiking Big Island with their.
So you can
with
actually
Google.
go on Google Earth or Google
They're
Maps.
going to be doing it soon. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, what has been the biggest challenge as far as setting up on the Big Island? Or in Hawaii
I've
in
been
general?
working alongside David for about 3 years now,
Okay.
2.5, 3 years,
Great.
and he would have a lot more to speak in as far as his personal experience, But I think it's convincing people that this really can be done.
Yeah.
That it can be done, even though the base right now is it's in Kona, and even though we're on a series of rocks in the middle of the Pacific, that this really can be done and it's significant. So really encouraging people to not downplay the opportunity and realize, and I think the names of the mentors and what they've done really helps bring some validity to it.
Yeah, it sounds like a huge
And obviously the state
opportunity.
being involved and the county of Hawaii and people coming together and working together, people are starting to see something's really happening here. So the biggest thing is just having people come along and join us for the journey.
Are you working with existing film and media people that are already here?
Yeah,
as well?
part of what I'm doing here on Oahu, and I'm going to be this weekend at the fun fair, even setting up a table
Yay!
and just networking there. I'm going to be making an announcement at Wetware Wednesday next Wednesday, and we really just want to get people together that are in the industry and say, hey, there's something growing here. There's something that's about to transform in a good way the industry in the island. So so we're hopping around, kind of putting out the call, calling all professionals.
That's great.
Maybe you have a project or somebody that has a project and they've been working on it and toiling over it, and you're considering how to get it funded or where to go or how to start. This is perfect.
Is this going to be like a full-time thing where you got to give up what you're doing? And
You're going to have to, it's going to be some sacrifice for sure, but we do understand that people have day jobs and they have families and stuff, and you can't transplant your whole
Yeah.
family to move to Kona for 6 months. So there is some flexibility. We're trying to, being as it were, global virtual studio, trying to make it where we can do some things remotely, virtually, and then also allowing some kind of travel stipend, hopefully, to some people that are on outlying islands, where they can come in, a couple times a month or whatever. So there will be key times where it's important to be in Kona, at the facility at Honua Studios, in that great environment where everybody's working together, elbow to elbow.
Yeah.
But it's from what I've heard of other accelerators, Disney just started one. It's not quite as cool as ours, but it's cool. And Warner Brothers has just started one.
Wow.
But this seems like a very, very generous one, even in the grand scheme of what's happening in the world. So it's not just good for Hawaii. This is ranking at the top of what's happening in the world right now amongst accelerators, and especially in the entertainment industry. Yeah, and it's starting here.
That is amazing.
It's a privilege to be a part of it, really it is.
Wow. And what is your background? How did you...
My background, I connected with David. I was doing some acting studying and came across his path. We started talking story just about some film, like what he had in development and some ideas that I had. Not that I was influencing him at all. He's been doing it a lot longer than I have, but just that connection happened, and so I've been working with him on a few different things, just kind of, out there, kind of talking about what's happening and, public relations and stuff like that. So, yeah, I came in as an actor and still wanting to do that.
Were you here? Were you on Kona when you...
I was in Kona, yeah. I was doing a little bit of training there, and, I've been on mainland and back and forth a little bit. So I have a little bit of vested interest in this as well. I'd love to be around here in the community that I've grown to love in the past couple of years of living in Hawaii. And so I hope a lot of projects take off so I can get some more roles.
That is amazing. So what do people need when they apply? Like, how do you need to be ready to apply?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What are you guys
The
looking
first
for?
thing is, just check out the website. If there's a doubt or people aren't sure, they feel like they're walking into the big leagues, just go to globalvirtualstudio.com and start the application process. Set up a profile, just start. And there's going to be questions in there, and just answer them honestly. And if you feel insufficient, just keep going forward. Just don't stop. Just don't give up. The application process is pretty rigorous, so there will be people that will be weeded out through that just because they're in the idea or the incubator stage, And, HIF, and I believe it's Creative Industries, did something cool in making Creative Lab, and that's more of an incubator where people can take their ideas and kind of help get them going, and then maybe next year, if you don't feel like you're ready now, maybe next year you can come to the GBS Accelerator and apply, the Transmedia Accelerator. So they go on there, hopefully they have a little more of an idea, and just start at the website.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Did you hear that, everybody?
globalvirtualstudio.com.
So that's where you need to go to apply for the Accelerator. It sounds very awesome. It sounds like they're going to have some amazing mentors. So thank you so much for being my guest
Thanks
today.
for having me. I appreciate it.
It was great. That's great news. This has been High Growth with HTDC, and I'm your host, Cindy Matsuki, and we're on the ThinkTech Hawaii live streaming series. And thank you so much for supporting our entrepreneur, innovation, tech, and manufacturing industries. We'll see you next time. Thanks.